If it is or if it ain't, it's gonna come out. Good morning, everybody. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and you're listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. It is March. Why am I saying these wrong days? It's April the 15th, 2024, and today the topic is acknowledge. Acknowledge, everybody. Happy Monday. Yes, happy Monday. I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. Mine was just fine. Yeah, mine was good overall. We kind of got some things sorted out when it came to my car for Saturday, and then I let Saturday be, I guess, somewhat of a lazy Saturday because I knew that Sunday was going to be busy, which it was. Working over there at the church, 3 services or gatherings. One of them I did get a chance um, to hear the word and whatnot, which was good and right on time. And then afterwards, they hosted a man's night. I was praying that my husband was gonna go, but he didn't go. So, womp womp womp. I guess we all ain't praying hard enough, right? But it's all good, man. Again, everybody's on their own journey. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's on their own journey. So all I can do is pray and support and things of that nature. But anywho, yeah, that was my weekend in a nutshell. I mean, today is Monday, and we have the Monday night services tonight. I am scheduled to go, so I will be going and doing my thing. But yeah, man, that's how things look. I guess there's a lot of things in my heart and mind this morning. I was being a little bit lackadaisical with getting on up and stuff like that, even though I did wake up early. I didn't pay attention to none of that timing or nothing like that. Listen to the prayer meditation. I remember that being pretty good, but still nothing of significance standing out like that. But I know at some point, acknowledge came into my heart and mind. And so, I went deeper about that, looked up the definition, looked up verses and whatnot, but I still just kind of felt more so led to just kind of woosah a bit. And so I did. And I felt like I was getting a lot of downloads from the Lord, as they say. I got some little dreams and whatnot. I think there was one that would seem to be rather significant, where I just remember either looking in the mirror or something like that, and then there was like this invisible Christ. So like the outlines of him or something, of the quote unquote image that we're used to seeing of Jesus, but it was invisible, so it wasn't seen. But anyway, I remember it handing me like this comic book page or something, and I was like really trying to focus in on what the comic book page was saying, and I didn't recognize, but I remembered there was like a phrase. And so I looked up the phrase, and lo and behold, that's the actual Bible verse, which I did not write down to share. So my bad. But it was interesting. It was kind of significant and whatnot as well. So I found that to be interesting. And then there was some other dreams and whatnot I was having as I was going back and forth with sleeping and waking back up and stuff this morning. But when I got back up completely, I felt led to focus on acknowledge. So here I am talking about that, and maybe the other stuff will get talked about another day. So yeah, acknowledge, y'all. This definition says accept or admit the existence or truth of. And then the second definition says recognize the fact or importance or quality of. I think we all like to be acknowledged every now and then, right? So how much more would our God like and prefer to be acknowledged? Matter of fact, as I was going deeper about this, I think one of the articles I was reading at gotquestions.org was I guess talking about how, again, not just say obedience is better than sacrifice, but it did kind of talk about things along those lines and why it was more important to acknowledge God and things of that nature than to, do ritualistic sacrifices and stuff like that, and how hypocritical it was for the Israelites or whatever to do that, because they would go off and worship other gods, but then they would still do their quote unquote sacrifices and offerings and things of that nature. And so um yeah, the article pretty much just reiterated like how important it was for us to truly have a heart after God and seeking him and loving him and things of that nature, um than to again make a practice of just doing things out of habit. So yeah, so that was interesting to read and whatnot. I only have a few verses to share. Who knows? I might have already shared these things before. But hey, I hope that today that will encourage us and inspire us to acknowledge God. It was quite interesting because this morning, I can't remember what time it was, or was it late last night before I went to bed? One of those times, basically, I submitted myself for this opportunity to be featured in this magazine that's all about purpose of your purpose and of your pain and things of that nature, um, which I found to be interesting. I feel like that's a phrase I've been using a lot lately. And so when I came across the, casting, if you want to say, or, information regarding, the interview opportunity, I was like, well, I mean, this has been my phrase of the past few weeks, so I might as well submit or whatever. And so they wanted me to send in some information and answer some questions and stuff like that. And so I did that late last night. And as I was doing it, I found it to be very interesting because, again, there is purpose to our pain, right? If you acknowledge God, right, and you start to see again how His hand can and is working in our life, then again we can start to look at the things that we go through, the suffering, the pain, all these different things a little bit differently. Matter of fact, the pastor was talking about this yesterday as well. The fact that, like, again, going through something doesn't change, but what changes as a believer is how we handle it, right? um so again, I'm just here to remind us all again to acknowledge Christ, and so we can know how to live, right? Know what to do and how to handle things, and know that he is with us, and we don't have to, um not say we won't have to struggle, but we won't have to like deal with things the way that unbelievers do. So let's talk about it, y'all. The first verse that I felt led to write down this morning was Proverbs 3 and 6. It says, in all your ways, acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths. Very familiar verse here on the juice. But of course, I mean, what stood out to me the most is this word acknowledge. Um, and then in all your ways, y'all, in all of your ways, acknowledge him. Um, I mean, I don't really have anything to say or add to that, y'all. I mean, it says what it says and it is what it is. I mean, you know, do you see how this could possibly benefit you to acknowledge God in all your ways? Again, I mean, maybe we don't see, I guess, the goodness in that. Sometimes, again, we want to make our own decisions, do things our own way. I talked all about my way a few days ago, right? Um, but I mean, as you start to do that, what I find is that, again, there's that peace, love, joy, hope that we have that is unexplainable, even in the midst of turmoil and um, hard, sad situations. And so, again, his ways are better than ours. His thoughts are higher than ours. His plan is going to be fulfilled, whether you decide to be part of it or not. And so, these are just things to think about. And I'm sure there's plenty of practical ways to acknowledge God. I mean, you guys can check out those articles, or the one article that I put in the Go Deeper section, or even look up other ways if you really, really are struggling with this and you need some practical advice of how to do this. But let me go ahead and give you guys another verse. So Luke 12:8-9 says, and I tell you, everyone who acknowledges me before men, the Son of Man also will acknowledge before the angels of God. But the one who denies me before men will be denied. That might be pulpit this morning, but I mean, do you want to be acknowledged before the angels or not? I guess that's one thing you can think about. Maybe you don't think that's a big deal, right? Like, again, we like to focus again on what's happening here on earth, that we don't think about what's going to happen in heaven. Um, But hey, man, it's kind of interesting because I was kind of one of the last questions that the article that I was submitting for asked me was like, what do I want unbelievers to know? And I mean, at one point, I was just pretty much wanted to remind everybody that, hey, whether we want to acknowledge God or not, He's there and He loves us. And I really just would hate to get to the end of my life and never, choose to never acknowledge God and then have to stand in front of Him one day. You know what I mean? Like I can't even imagine what type of feeling I would have if that was me and my story. And so, but unfortunately, that is the story for many, right? You get to the end of your life and then you see what the truth is, right? And I mean, according to the Bible, it tells us what happens after death. Nobody, again, I guess you got to get there in order to confirm whether that's true or not, fully, and whatnot. But those of us that are living by faith, um, we're acknowledging that now. So then that way, when we get there, prayerfully, I mean, not to say we'll be vindicated, but like, I still would rather get to the end of my life and even if there is no God, know that okay, I lived a morally good life and things of that nature versus getting to the end and realize that I was wrong about everything and wrong about God and stuff like that. Like that, I mean, who there's a lot of people that play those games and take that chance, but I mean, which is worse? You know what I'm saying? Like, really think about that. Like, which is worse? Getting to the end of the life and finding out, oh, there's no God. Okay, well, then it means nothing, then, right? You just die, you just get buried, you just, then there's nothing to worry about, right? But then you get to the end of the life and then you have to stand before the God that you denied your whole life. I mean, and then knowing that there's consequences to that, at least according to the Bible. I mean, I don't know. Again, choose you this day who you gonna serve and what you gonna do. You all got free will to do so, but I don't know. That's a little bit. And not saying it gives me heart palpitations, but I'm just saying, I mean, it's just something to think about. So then Matthew 10:32, it says, so everyone who acknowledges me before men, I also will acknowledge before my Father who is in heaven. I find it very interesting. Both of those verses is talking about acknowledging God before men. Now again, I get it that we're around one another and we, I guess, think about that more so than we think about heavenly things. Um, but obviously there's something very important to acknowledging God before others, men, women, before others on earth. And so, um, these are things to think about. I mean, do you want to be denied because you denied, or do you want to be acknowledged because you acknowledged? I mean, that's the juice this morning. You guys can decide, which way you want to go with that. I only put one thing in the Go Deeper section, and that is this article that's at gotquestions.org. It's called "What Does It Mean to In All Your Ways Acknowledge Him" in Proverbs 3:6. Check that out. Feel free to go deeper. Yeah, that's the juice. Now the Bible verse of today is James 1 and 19. And 19 it says, wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, and slow to wrath. Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration and juice. I pray you guys can go forward and have a wonderful day. And I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye. Did you know that you can support us for just 99 cents a month? That's right, friends. You can support everything that we do here at GSL for just 99 cents a month. Take a look around wherever this post is. You might see a link or maybe even a button that says support. Go there, check out the options, consider supporting us because, we enjoy bringing you all the daily inspiration as well as the weekly talk show, but we have much, much more to come. Thank you so much for the consideration. Bye-bye.